What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? You're now tuned in with the greatest of the greatest, the best of the best, and that is myself as well as my brother from overseas, and that is brother friend. Brother friend, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Always happy to talk about things we love.
Right. Starting out, brother friend. Let me again. You and I both see and hear a lot of rumors, and you made a posted a really great tweet yesterday about why asking a very serious question about why do we believe the words of others with no proof, basically, to sum up what you said. And I'm really glad that you tweeted that out, because not just on the DC side, but on the other side of things, we're seeing so many he say, she say with not a lot of evidence. But the first question, friend, I have for you is, how would you describe the impact the DCU films, or the ones you enjoy the most? What type of impact did they have on you?
I mean, especially like the films that have impacted me the most are DC films. If it's not
Mm-hmm.
like the Dark Knight trilogy, it's like BVS and Man of Steel, Watchmen, and all those
Mm-hmm.
movies. And they have impacted me in a way that I see cinema in a different way. Like, I
Okay.
don't think it's a good thing, but I have like the standard really high. Like when I go to the cinema, I always try to compare them to the films that I like the most, and they have
Okay.
impacted me in a way that I almost never come out of the cinema happy. Like in
Mm-hmm.
my brain, I not even thinking it like in a conscious way, but my own brain goes out of the cinema, and I'm 90% of the time going like, oh, that wasn't as good as I expected to be. Like maybe
Mm-hmm.
when I came out of Aquaman or Glass the other day, I went out of the cinema happy and saying, I have seen a good film. But
Mm-hmm.
the way they've impacted me is that I expect a lot more from movies. Like I always want that level or that standard of quality in a movie.
Mm. Damn. So basically, it basically since seeing a BVS, a Man of Steel, a Watchmen, or even an Aquaman, it basically, those movies have made you uh watch other movies with higher standards. Is that correct or
That's
incorrect?
right. That's
Gotcha.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Fran, I want to talk a little bit about Wonder Woman. Now, I have a really strong admiration for this movie, the people involved with the movie, Patty Jenkins, Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, uh, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the most talked about things of the movie is the no man's land scene. And for me, it just spoke volumes. I'm like, this individual who just came out of her homeland of Themyscira just jumps in this deadly battle and just says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna fight everyone, whether these people are with me or not." And to me, that was really powerful. And every time I watch that sequence, I get goosebumps. And my question for you, brother Fran, is, what about the No Man's Land scene made it impactful for you?
Well, it made an impact in the way of when I first saw it in the cinema. It was like, now she's Wonder Woman. Like we've seen
Mm,
her like go around and fight a little bit, but it wasn't impressive. But that slow motion action and the reflection of the
mhm,
bullet and of the bullets with the bracelets, that
mhm,
whole thing was fucking majestic. Like I'm not gonna say it was like top three best scenes in a comic book movie or something like that, but it was fucking majestic. Like you saw
yes.
her and she was like explosions around and throwing shit with her shield and running around dodging bullets, all by her own, like supporting like 20 people shooting at her, and she just kept running and running, giving zero fucks. So
Hmm.
That scene was fucking amazing. And I saw Patty Jenkins said like yesterday or 2 days ago, something like that, that in Wonder Woman 84 there is going to be an scene that tops the No Man Lands scene. So I'm pretty hyped for that one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely saw what you're talking about. Moving on, friend. Let me ask you this now. David Sandberg is a guy who has seen some fairly good, very good success. Starting with Lights Out, which was a really, I wouldn't say it was the greatest horror movie, but I think for a debut, it was a really good movie. Then he did a really good job, in my opinion, with Annabelle Creation. And then it was announced that he would be helming the film Shazam. And my question for you, friend, is what excites you most about Shazam?
I think that it excites me because it's like a fresh take. Like it
Mm-hmm.
has, for what we've seen in the trailers, we have like pretty epic moments, pretty funny moments, pretty like innovative moments, like things we've never seen before. Like we've seen,
Mm-hmm.
Superman training to be Superman and jumping and trying to fly, but it, now in Shazam it's done in a way like it's funny and he doesn't even know what powers he has, and everything's like, I mean, he's a kid, so overall it's like something new, something fresh to the genre. Like we've had a lot of movies, superhero movies, and this feels
Mm-hmm.
like it can really connect with audiences and with kids and even casual or very geek people. Like we've had like epic movies, uh, like Ant-Man and the Wasp. We have BBS. We've had Avengers: Infinity War, and they all had its own theme. But now comes Shazam, like 40 movies after, and it has a very unique theme, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that most it like the most makes me go to the cinema to go see it. That it's new, it's something fresh.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, yeah. I've been wanting to see Shazam on the big screen for a while, and then like I said in the past video, after reading the new 52, shout out to Gary Frank, that just increased my excitement and just thinking about the possibilities. Obviously the big one people would love to see is Shazam and Superman, or Shazam and Black Adam, or Shazam, Black Adam and Superman. Shazam, I think, has a chance to expand, and definitely can expand the DCU as a whole. And obviously, I think based on what we've seen, I definitely believe that it will. Moving on, friend. This kind of ties back into the question about Wonder Woman. Now this question, and I think a lot of people took what she said out of context and ran with it, as we saw with as I'm sure you've seen with the headlines. Do you agree with Patty Jenkins uh, in regards to her comments about solo films as opposed to another Justice League hashtag release the Snyder Cut still? But do you agree with her comments
I mean,
about solo films?
I mean, of course, I agree with her because if you are a director in a fucking an a shared universe and you do like a pretty
Mm-hmm.
amazing movie like Wonder Woman, and then you see
Mm-hmm.
what they do to your character and the other characters when they are mixed in a movie, and then
Mm-hmm.
the disaster of Justice League happens. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's something logical and normal that what she saw is like, I don't want this to my character, for my character or for any of these characters. So I think that it's pretty on point what she said about having first, more individual movies. Everyone's gonna say, "Oh, that's a Marvel formula." Listen, we've tried our own formula. They didn't let the boss do it. They had studio interference, and the movie came out a pile of shit. So
Mm-hmm.
let's focus on more individual movies. Let's do things a little by little, step by step, and then in the future we can have another Justice League movie. But I think that her opinion was pretty on point. What do you think about her comments?
Uh, well, you know how passionate and aggressive I can get on the mic, friend. Uh, uh.
We need a
I
family
mean,
friendly, Josh.
I,
They're
I
gonna take down
mean,
the video.
yeah, they'll take down the video. I mean, I definitely see where she's coming from because on one hand, I'm like, you got characters like Ray Fisher's Cyborg. Shout out to Ray Fisher. You got you know, Ezra Miller's Flash. You have Joe. I'm just gonna call him Joe M because I call him Mangelio or Mangelo or something. I can't pronounce his name, but Joe Deathstroke, Slade Wilson. You have Henry Cavill. You have Ben Affleck. You have Gal Gadot, who's started her trilogy and will get a sequel next year. Uh, you have these characters, and you also have other characters, but I think I've always been of the mind is of that you need to establish the main characters first. Hence why I say hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Hence why I say Man of Steel 2 before Supergirl or before Harley Quinn versus the DC universe. You know what I'm saying? And
That's like the seventh film they're gonna make. They're gonna explode it so much that it's gonna be like Harley Quinn versus Mortal Kombat.
yeah, and I mean I definitely see where she's coming from, and I hate that as usual the headlines got to make it seem like, oh, Patty is this and this, or Patty says that we need to do this, and then if you read the fine print, because not everybody reads the fine print. If you read the fine print, it wasn't necessarily a jab or a diss at anything. She just got asked a question and she answered it, how she as how she felt. And to some degree I agree, but again, knowing what we know and what could have been and what should have been, I'm of the mindset that yeah, she has a point, but establish the main characters like Flash, like Cyborg, like even Green Lantern, and other characters first. And that's enough of that.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
next question.
I have like
Go ahead.
one little thing to say. Like what you said that she wasn't bashing or trying to take taking hot takes on anyone. Like I've seen a lot of people on Twitter like going fucking nuts. Like
Yeah.
Zack Snyder created you. Shut the fuck up. And I was like,
Yeah.
hey yo, listen, chill out, man. Like she didn't say anything. She just commented on something that she saw Justice League. She didn't say anything about Zack or BBS or Man of Steel. So chill the fuck out, you know. Like everyone's like, she's bashing him. Who are you? He casted Wonder Woman and this and that, and it's like, hey yo, listen, shut up. Like you are not doing any good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say names, but if you're listening, you know who you are. Like chill. Like
Yeah.
you are not
I
doing nothing beneficial for the man. Like the man is just chilling, trying to get his movie out, looking forward to see what he does in the future. And I sincerely think that they have a really good like relationship. Like I think that maybe they even talk to see, oh, I'm gonna do this in my movie, like they did with one. Like one showed Snyder cuts of his Aquaman movie and things like that. So there's no need
Mhm.
to go hysterical like everyone is an enemy and things like that because that doesn't help anything.
Exactly. You said exactly. You said a mouthful, friend. I mean, listen, guys. Every director up to this point, and we're going to talk about that a little later on, as well, friend. I mean, every director, for the most part, except for a few, namely Ayer and Snyder, want to deliver his or her own take, on the movie, and just trying by throwing another director under the bus like that, that doesn't help anything. It doesn't solve anything. And really and truly, it's really again very disturbing, to see some of the comments and the links that some individuals online will go to. Again, I'm a passionate fan of the DCU. Most of that is in large part due to Zack Snyder. But I don't want to. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh yeah, Patty, shut the fuck up." You don't know what you're talking about. That's just taking it a little. That's just taking it a little too far. Am I right or am I wrong, brother friend?
You are very right. But the most awful thing is like she didn't say anything controversial. Like everyone is making it up, like, oh, she's secretly bashing him and this and that, and it's like, yo, shut up, man. Like, she didn't say fucking anything. Like, you are making
Exactly.
drama out of her, and it isn't helping anyone or anything or any cause, and it's maybe it is making people see a negative face of maybe the release the Snyder Cut movement, and people that maybe are interested in saying, oh, what's this movement about, and everything like that, and they see these
Mm-hmm.
12-year-olds, or they look like 12 years olds, that go crazy over anything. So everyone
Yeah.
chill the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah. You get it, bro. You get it. Now, let me ask you this, friend, and this is something I've noticed aside from Suicide Squad in that movie that wasn't what we were sold, and the company needs to actually be sued for false advertisement. That's another video. This part about the DCU is something I've seen in Man of Steel, BVS, Wonder Woman, and most recently Aquaman. Is something I really appreciate that they put a lot of their attention towards. And that question is, friend, why do you feel that the mothers play such a big part of the DCU movies as opposed to the other superhero types of superhero movies?
I mean, I think that the mother's theme is like something that gets really attached to people, and something that is like kind of easy to relate to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a difficult plot or storyline or something like that. It is something as simple as your mother. Like, everyone has a mother, so
Mm-hmm.
it's something like that connects really good with the person who is watching the movie, and something that is not like some strange twist that is like groundbreaking. I think that they have
Mm-hmm.
importance because behind every man and every woman there's a mother and a father, and sometimes we like overestimate the influence that they have in our lives. And like Batman, the whole Batman thing is made because his parents were murdered, and
Mm-hmm.
they have to be important because they are the ones that made us as we are. Like, and that applies to superheroes too. Like, you don't have to have like some silly final act or something like that. You can have something as simple as your mother showing up to calm
Mm-hmm.
yourself down and make a good story. Like, that, it doesn't make it any worse or any better. It's just different, and something that really connects with the viewer.
Mm. I definitely agree. Shout out to Martha Wayne, shout out to Polita, and shout out to Martha Kent as well. Moving on, friend. Let me ask you this. Now it's been over a month, and $1 billion later. Are your thoughts on Aquaman the movie still the same?
I mean, what was the question again?
What are your basically are your thoughts on Aquaman as a movie still the same?
Oh, I mean, yeah. Like, I think that is. I mean, I've seen it again, like in this Korean sub thingy that everyone is posting around Twitter, and
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it 2 times. I mean, I have no guilt. Like, I mean, I've seen it, and I think that my opinion hasn't changed. Like, if it is a pretty solid superhero movie with some stunning visuals that are like
Mm-hmm.
fucking groundbreaking, and it's a fucking disgrace that they are not nominated for the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
And Black Panther is Jesus fucking Christ. All right, so
Let Let's talk about that, Fran. But I'll let you finish. You said so, and then you're about to say something else.
all right, no problem. So it's just a little bit more like it hasn't changed. Like, it's pretty solid. Every time you watch it, you see something new. You focus on something else of the visual effects or the movements or the trident or the dialogue or the acting. So it
Mm-hmm.
hasn't really changed. It's a overall really good movie.
Okay. Yeah, I think if anything, it's a good movie. It's a solid movie. Like you, I think the effects are the main highlight. And I want to talk to you about that, friend. That's a great point. Why do you think that the I know the answer to this, but I just want to hear somebody else say it. Why do you feel that the Academy failed to recognize Aquaman for his visual effects?
Because it is something as simple as knowing that I saw it in a reliable article that the company that is in charge of saying like which movie goes to the Oscars and which movie doesn't is owned by
Mm-hmm.
Disney.
Okay.
Like, and everyone is gonna go like, "Oh, you're a crybaby," and this and that. Okay, man, you can call me whatever you want, but the facts are the facts. And the
Yeah.
fact that the company that is in charge of getting the film nominees is owned
Mm-hmm.
by Disney. That's it. Like, that's the only thing that you need to know. And if the Academy had a little bit of dignity and a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of working ethics and morality, they wouldn't have allowed it to be nominated. And other films that, I mean, they will let Black Panther be nominated and films like Aquaman and other films that have stunning visual effects don't be nominated.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah.
a little bit of ethics, you know? Not everything
Yeah.
in this life is money. Money is a fucking great important thing in your lives, but when it comes to regarding people's work from 2 years long, working every fucking day to deliver a fucking stunning movie, and you commit a fucking disgrace of not even nominating it,
Mm-hmm.
that says a lot of how the film industry is working right now. And I think that no one should be happy about it.
Whew. Shit.
Shots fired.
Oh man. I don't even need to say anything else. Let's moving on, friend. Let me ask you this. And I know this is where, like I like to say, this is where the triggering starts, or the dislike button gets pounded on, but that's fine. And that question is, why do you feel Man of Steel and Batman v Superman are still being hotly debated years after their release, but most MCU films aren't?
Because two of them are one of the best superhero movies ever made, and the like
That.
95% of the MCU films are pretty forgettable. Doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean that they are bad, but they are forgettable, and there's nothing wrong about it. But the thing is that someone who spends like, we are in 2019, like that's like 6 years talking about Man of Steel. Hey, listen, if you
Mm-hmm.
hate it too much, you don't spend 6 years talking about it. Like, it's
Right,
a movie.
exactly.
And I think that I've seen it like in news outlets and kind of new articles saying like, okay, like Watchmen wasn't as bad as it looks like, and Man of Steel was pretty good, and BBS was actually pretty good the next time I saw it, and things like that. And I think that the
Yeah.
tides are turning. Like, I don't think that people are getting tired of Marvel, but maybe the people that are like, okay, I want to see something different this time, and they go back and see Man of Steel and BVS, and they are like, all right. I mean, watching it with a little bit of time to think about it, and not in the heat of the moment. I think that
Mm-hmm.
most of the people think that they are pretty solid movies, because they are really good movies, and we still talk about them because they. I mean, I think that BVS was fucking groundbreaking in the
Mm-hmm.
superhero genre. That's why everyone keeps talking about it, even if you love it or you hate it. Because when something is great and something has become and reached greatness, you're always gonna
Mm-hmm.
have people like against it and people in favor of it, and that's when you know that you've done a fucking great film.
Mm. Okay. And this next question, Fran, is very much in relation to a lot of what you just said in the prior question, and that is, why do you feel subjective slash objective is thrown out the window when talking about DCEU movies? And before you answer, Fran, I'm don't worry, I'm not I'm gonna let you go in once again. Uh, Before you answer, I want to say the reason I asked this question is because oftentimes I've been hit with, oh well, you're allowed to like BVS, you're allowed to like Man of Steel, but you just need to accept that it's a bad movie. And to tell you the amount of times I've seen a comment like that or similar to that, to tell you the amount of times that a person has ran to my video just to write some long essay about why I'm wrong for liking the movie, I'd have a fucking 120-page notebook probably. I'm just keeping it real. But what's your take on that, friend?
You should you should like collect all those comments and
Mhm,
like paste them around your room, like your bedroom,
mhm.
to motivate yourself.
I should, man.
Like, I mean, I think that it's something really strange. Like, I think that it has a lot of factors, the way they that people talk about DC films, and I think that
Hmm.
one of the biggest factors to make things shorter is that they have fear, and I don't understand why. Like, I think they have fear that if DC films is successful, Marvel is gonna end, or they're gonna take over, or they're just gonna make like dark and gritty films, like they call it. Like,
Hmm.
I think that they are scared. Like, oh no, like this film, Aquaman is a really good, solid film that is not as cringy and funny as and your average MCU film. Let's go bash it. Like, I don't want anything like this, and you can do like you can do that and behave like a fucking 12-year-old, and you can be a good journalist and say, I didn't like this movie, maybe I didn't like the theme of this movie, but if you like superhero movies, you're gonna like this movie. See, as simple as that. Like, it's a matter of having principles and integrity, professional integrity.
Yeah.
Like, you can have an opinion, and I may have an opinion on Iron Man 3, and I can say I think that it is a really bad movie, but if people enjoy it, let's keep making them. Like, I'm not paying for them, like they are not taking my money to
Hmm.
make those movies, so why would I fucking bash something that someone likes because I don't like it?
Uh-huh.
Like, it's as simple as that. Like, you don't like it, it's alright, you can say I didn't like it because this and that, but saying things like I give it a 2 out of 5 because it only looks like actors in a fish tank and fake CGI fish. Hey, listen, what do you think? They gonna go and swim between great sharks and whales in the middle of the ocean? Like,
Yeah,
that's what
man.
I'm talking about. Like, if you have like respect for yourself and for the work you do, you they wouldn't have been writing those kind of articles, and that's where the
Exactly.
subjectiveness and objectiveness comes. Like, you can be objective and say, I think that this movie has some pretty amazing VFX, but I didn't like the plot. Okay, that's fine. Like, there's no
Hmm.
problem with it, but saying some arguments against it, like the, I mean, the hair of Mera looks fake. 1 out of 5. I mean, you're like making a whole 2.5 movie into that you didn't like someone's acting or because something looked like a little bit of fake. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, it's just
Yeah.
it's just sad. Like, you see journalism going dead. I mean, in the film
Yeah.
industry. And then I saw I think I said this in a previous video. Like, I saw a review
Hmm.
of Ant-Man and the Wasp that said, I didn't understand a thing, but it was pretty fun. 5 out of 5. Like,
What the fuck,
what is journalism anymore? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what's going on? It's
man?
fucking,
I,
I don't
I
know.
couldn't. I couldn't tell you. I mean, but you said a lot, and I like how you mentioned integrity. That's a great thing. That's a great word, friend. I mean, these directors, these actors, and even to some degree producers, whether they have good intentions or bad intentions, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. They work hard, extremely hard on these movies, and you know, I'm sure they're swimming in cash, so they don't really let the words of others affect them. But I'm gonna tell you something: when you take it as far as getting personal about a person, like talking about, you know, I'm just going to use him as an example, Zach, and the stuff he's had to deal with. Calling somebody out, talking about it's a Marvel ripoff, or they can't come out with anything without copying Marvel. that's just taking it a little too far, and it just shows that you really don't have anything to write about other than just unless it's MCU or Marvel related. Like take their dick out of your throat. But anyway, don't ban me, you two. Moving on.
Family friendly, family friendly.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, friend. And we talked about this in a past video as well. What excites you most about Wonder Woman 84?
I think that mainly two things, like the setting, like the 80s.
Mhm,
Like I obviously wasn't alive in the 80s, but everything that I've seen, like the music, the style, the whole society, like the ambient, everything.
mhm,
I don't know, it kind of attracts me, like the neon lights and everything. It seemed like so cyberpunk, and I don't know, I think that that's gonna be some of the part that I'm gonna enjoy the most. And the other thing is Hans Zimmer, like composing the score. Like if
yes.
he was able to do that classic Wonder Woman theme, I don't know what he's gonna be able to do with those 80 techno like techno electronic sounds. I think that he's
Mhm.
gonna do like, I'm not saying that it's gonna be like the best score ever, but I think that it's gonna be something really fresh and something really unique in the superhero genre.
Mm, yeah. I think for me, the biggest thing obviously is like you said, Hans Zimmer's score. I'm really interested to see Christian Wig. I think that's how you say her last name is Cheetah. Because prior to this, she's been mostly known for her comedic roles, but she was in Darren Aronofsky's movie Mother, and the few moments that we saw her in that movie, I was like, okay, she can do a little bit more than just comedy. So I'm interested to see what she does with the villain, because you know me, I love a good villain and everything. And yeah, the other big thing is to see uh the mystery behind Steve Trevor's quote unquote resurrection. You know how they handle that, whether he's a hallucination that's just following Diana through the 80s, or he's actually been miraculously revived. Um, Moving on, friend, let me ask you this: do you feel that the DCU is going to stick to two releases a year for now?
I think that when it comes to like 2020 and 2021, I think that they're gonna go all in, like having maybe 3 4 films a year, like because now
Mm-hmm.
they are focusing on doing like a little budget films, like the Joker,
Mm-hmm.
Birds of Prey, New Gods, when they start the development. I think that they can easily go to for 3 4 films a year with the
Mm-hmm.
like the budget that they have, and I'm not gonna complain about it. Like the more films that we have, the happier we're gonna be. Like like now this year we're gonna have Shazam and the Joker, and we were supposed to have Wonder Woman. That's for another video. But something really strange happened there. Like you don't normally move a film that you have already filmed 8 months, but that's it. I think that it's gonna be better for them to go in 3 4 films a year, so people don't forget about it. I mean, but you can also have like 1 year difference, like Aquaman, and make $1 billion. This industry is
Mm-hmm.
unpredictable, but in a fans' eyes, the more films, the better.
Okay. I agree. Fran, now this next question, we save the good, typically save the good stuff for last. There was a gentleman by the name of Toby Emmerich who made some headlines himself this week because of the comments that he said, and they made me scratch my chin, and I was a little bit salty about it. And what he said was, we all feel like we've turned a corner now. We're playing by the DC playbook, which is very different than the Marvel playbook. We are far less focused on a shared universe. We take it one movie at a time. Each movie is its own equation and own creative entity. If you had to say one thing about us, it's that it always has to be about the directors. what is your response to Cole's comments, brother friend?
I think that it's a little bit like hypocritical, mostly hypocritical. Like you can say that you're going in a different direction and you are having letting the directors have their own vision in each individual film and anything with with
Mhm.
like everyone saw what Justice League was. Everyone knows what happened, and you can go now like, oh yeah, we're like this solidarity studio that lets everyone do whatever they want with their
Yeah,
film, and we don't care, and we are not going to go with the Marvel formula. We're gonna go on our own way. Hey yo, listen, like last year it was your fault that we had like
yeah,
a Marvelized Justice League. What and you fired the director because you didn't like his vision, and now you're trying to convince us that yeah, we're gonna let each director have its own freedom, and it's gonna be okay, and it isn't gonna be like a really big shared universe. It's gonna be with its own movie and every. Yo, listen, shut up. Like that's like saying,
yeah,
oh no, right now we really enjoy uh, like all movies and everything. We don't like the Marvel way, and you did exactly what like you did exactly the opposite that you are saying you did like 1 year ago. It's not like they did
yeah,
10 years ago, and you're like, oh, maybe they've thought about it and maybe they have like rearranged everything to make it the so like the directors have all the control. This happened like a year ago, so those declarations, and it's like no one believes you. Like you can say
yeah.
whatever you want, but no one is going to believe you.
And see, Fran, I wasn't as mad until you started speaking. So now I'm about to go in. You know, Fran, thinking about that movie that wasn't supposed to be, that's a prime example. Suicide Squad, another prime example. And it's just frustrating, man. It's very frustrating. It's very saddening. And you know, thinking about what Justice League could have been, and just sitting here imagining, for me, almost daily or every other day. Don't worry, I have other things to do. But just imagining what they did to this man's hard work, a universe that he started, a universe that they hired him to basically jumpstart and entrusted him to jumpstart and give him, time to develop. And then all of a sudden they just want to step in and act like they know more, or act like they know what the movie needs. You know what I'm saying? And that part just really frustrates me, and it's sad, man. And honestly, if I was a cruel soul, if I was a very cruel soul, I would end and start my videos by saying, "Yeah, go to this site to watch Aquaman or watch this movie from DCU for free because they don't WB doesn't appreciate the people that they hire." If I was a cruel soul, I would do that, but I'm not a cruel soul, so I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's just frustrating to know what could have been and what should have been. But now, until release the Snyder Cut happens and it's actually released, we just gotta sit with this painful memory of fucking titanium Futurama robot Iron Face Jawbreaker Face Iron Superman. We got to sit with memories of I don't not like you. We got to sit with memories of all Batman basically being a knockoff, not being Batman. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
it's just frustrating.
it's all true. Like, but the thing is that they did like all of that they did it wrong, and now they come out like, no, we are like this little innocent studio, like we didn't
Yeah,
do anything wrong. We let each director have its own vision. Like, shut up, man. Like, we all know
yeah,
what you did, so don't come in here like you're an innocent little man saying like, oh no, because and this and that, and we don't like the Marvel formula. Shut up. Like, just shut up. Like, let time pass, let time heal, release the Snyder Cut. Maybe we can all chill out a little bit. But that's the thing, that you can do things wrong and shut up about it, and you did them wrong, and that's it.
keep
But
talking about
but don't come out like, no, we didn't do anything like that. We're really respectful with the director's visions and this and that. Just don't
And
be
the only
hypocritical.
Yeah, and the only reason, friend, I don't know about everybody else. The only reason I'm still watching these movies, the only reason I haven't went all in is because a movie like Man of Steel exists. A movie like BVS exists. You know, knowing what Zach had intended for a lot of these movies and characters, that's the only reason that I still watch these movies. The only reason I get on YouTube and preach and shout and get crazy, raising my blood pressure. I hope I don't have kids. That's the only reason I still am invested in these movies a little bit. And moving on, friend, before I get started and take up all the runtime of this video, uh, what do you say to those users slash group of individuals who claim that quote unquote Zack Snyder doesn't get Superman? And I feel like I'm gonna get triggered, so I'm gonna just let you answer, and we'll keep going.
I mean, he doesn't get Superman, and I would say, so what is Superman for you? Is he the 78th movie from the 1978, or is
Mm-hmm.
he the Red Son one? Is he the Injustice one? Is he the Kingdom Come one? Like, listen, Superman has like some like basic ideas that you have like to fulfill, but
Mm-hmm.
we've had like 80 years of Superman comics. Like, we've had iterations of him in every single way possible. Like, he's been really good, he's been really evil, he's been stupid, he's been intelligent, he's had kids, he's doesn't have kids, he's been in love with Lois, he's been in love with Wonder Woman. Like, what do you mean he doesn't get it? He's just trying, like they do in the comics. They now start another run in the comics, and they make him really bad and really evil, and he's like the tyrant of the world, like in Injustice. That's what he
Mm-hmm.
was doing with Man of Steel. But it wasn't that. It was like a 5 story arc movies that it's called character development, and it doesn't have to happen all in one movie. Like,
Exactly.
they all like to, oh, like, look at this character development in the MCU and this and that. Like, that took 10 years and maybe like 8 films for a character to come from where he started to what he is now. And
Yeah.
Snyder didn't get Superman because in one movie he was a little bit sad at the beginning, but then he became like the symbol of hope that humanity needed in that universe. Like, these people were extremely impatient. Like,
Yeah.
he got it like really good. He was just trying to make a story where he became like what they said about Batman. Like, Batman was going to be like this old greedy murderer and all that, and he was going to become in the last film like the Batman we all know. It's
Yes.
all about impatient. They were impatient, and they tried to bash a movie that is pretty solid by its own, and with BBS next to him, it's even better.
Like I said, I'm gonna start yelling again, so I'm just gonna move on to the next question. Brand, I appreciate your answer, bro. Um, this next question, and we're getting ready to close. Do you like the idea of a Harley Quinn trilogy within the DCEU? And before you answer, Fran, some things to note. Suicide Squad, as I've repeatedly said, despite the negative reception, it was you and I both know it was very successful. Uh, Harley Quinn's popularity basically skyrocketed. Um, Seeing the numerous spinoffs that were announced, they were mostly centered around Harley Quinn. Uh, there was supposed to be a Harley Quinn solo, Harley Quinn and Joker movie, Gotham City Sirens, and now we know Birds of Prey. And I think it's called the Fabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn is set to release next year. What are your thoughts about a potential Harley Quinn trilogy in the DCU
The thing
in
is,
this feminist era?
I think that, they're gonna obviously gonna exploit that. Like, they're gonna exploit like feminist movement and everything like that. And I mean, I don't have anything against it, but they are clearly exploring it because it's like the trend right now. And the thing is,
Yeah.
like, I don't care if they make 20 Harley Quinn movies. Like, I really don't. Like, I like the character, and I'm gonna go to the cinema and go watch it. But the thing is, why are you spending money in three Harley Quinn movies, and you are not spending that money in the Batman, Man of Steel 2, Justice League
Yeah.
2, and
Yeah.
Cyborg movie, the Flash movie? I mean, I am happy with all these new movies, but they are from side characters that not a lot of people want to see. Like with Harley Quinn, okay, she's like become this cultural phenomenon when Suicide Squad came out, and I think that it's gonna make a lot of money because everyone like kind of connected with her because she was crazy and this and that. But it's like with the Supergirl movie, like they're gonna make a Supergirl movie before a Man of Steel 2. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Like, I don't have a problem with Supergirl, and I'm glad that they're gonna make a Supergirl movie, but you have to have priorities. You're gonna have movies from your 27th character, or you want to have a movie of your third most important character?
Yeah.
That's something that I don't understand. Like, I don't have anything against it. I'm gonna go and see its movie DC gets out, and I'm gonna be the first day there watching it. But the thing is, why spend that amount of money in a Harley Quinn trilogy when you can have a Man of Steel 2 or a Flash movie or a Cyborg movie?
Yes. It's that easy. It's that easy. Moving on, friend. And this question, like I said, I tried my hardest to save the best for last, and I feel like this is one of the best ones. And it's also going to again cause some sensitivity. But that question is, what do you feel the DCEU has done better than other superhero films? And the reason I say other superhero films is because those other guys tend to get really sensitive when I mention the franchise. But what? Go ahead, brother.
I think that like each movie in the DCU has its own tone. Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously they are a shared universe, but globally each movie has its own tone. So maybe if you didn't like one kind of movie, like maybe you didn't like BBS, but you had Wonder Woman, and if you didn't like Wonder Woman, you had Suicide Squad. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
what they have done better is variety. Like they all, what I said, they all have like kind of some basics that they all fulfill, but the overall diversity and different tones that all the movies have is what's make them different and maybe better than some of them. Like if you go to, for example, to the MCU, you have like pretty like all of them are pretty solid movies on its own, but they all feel like they were directed by the same director. Like
Mm-hmm.
the 24th, I don't know how many of them are, like 22 or 23, I don't know. They all feel like the same tone, same story, same color palette, everything looks the same. And I think what DC Films has done better is diversity, like diversity in colors, in theme, in tone, and that's what makes it like maybe I'm not gonna say like more successful, but if you didn't like one kind of of movie, you're gonna like the next one. But
Mm-hmm.
in another shared universe, like maybe the MCU, they all have like the same tone. So if you didn't like the first one, you're not gonna like the second one.
Mm. Okay. I think for me, like you said, the tone, with most of them, Man of Steel, BBS, Wonder Woman, to some degree, Aquaman. Uh, the casting, I think has been spot on, and I'll even say Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. Cue the downvote button. Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. Uh, the casting all through and through Gal Gadot. Uh, the directors, I think, for the most part, aside from the interference that came with Suicide Squad and Zack Snyder's own films, and definitely the action. I think the action is often understated. I don't know why, but you could take the warehouse scene in BVS, and it probably to me is better than most of the MCU. But before I trigger anybody, this last question, friend, what would you say to those individuals who say the DCEU should copy the Felicity verse, aka the Arrowverse?
I mean, I think that the people who say that hasn't really seen like the Arrowverse. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've seen some episodes of some of the series, and I think that they are pretty boring overall. Like, I can understand that people watch it and they enjoy it. I don't have anything bad to say about them, but for me, they are pretty boring. Like, the action feels pretty cheap. Everything feels like, this is made for TV, and
Yeah.
should DC films copy that? I don't think so, because DC films has to have its own tone. It's not that
Mm-hmm.
difficult. Like, not everything has to be the same or generic or this and that. Like, the Arrowverse can have its tone, DC films can have its tone, the MCU can have its tone. There's nothing wrong about it. But trying to overgeneralize every single movie that comes out to have the same tone, it's pretty much and simply boring. That you wouldn't be excited to go to the cinema if it's of the movies that came out had the same tone and copied each other.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. You guys go subscribe to Freya's channel. I'll leave a link in the description. And yeah, we'll see you all next time.
Bye bye.